Last time on the Just Create SMP, I started working on an amazing iron farm. However, after doing a whole bunch of testing, all we ended up with was a dog in a minecart. A rather fancy minecart, but a minecart nonetheless. So today I plan to finish this iron farm, which is already finished. Get it fully working into production, which it already is, and then build a lovely building around it. And yes, this iron farm is already 100% finished and working. But it's about not to be. But I'll get to why I'm about to destroy this wonderful 100% working hyper-efficient iron farm later in the video, because for now we've still got a lot of testing to do. And yes, we're back here again doing more tests. The slowest part of an iron farm is always going to be how quickly you can wash the gravel into the iron and flint. And that's because washers are pretty slow. Now, washers are a funny thing because it doesn't matter how fast they blow, it matters how many washers you've got washing one stack of items. But the other thing to bear in mind is how many items are being washed at once. And just like the crushing wheels, I've always been led to believe that if you wash 16 items at a time, that's faster than washing a stack of items at a time. So here we've got a bunch more tests that are going to wash different amounts of gravel. This one's going to do a stack at a time. This one's going to do 32, 16, 8, and 4. And each barrel has 2 stacks of gravel inside it. And the way we're going to monitor how quickly these work is not with threshold switches, because you get a random output for how much gravel you wash. We're actually going to be using smart observers looking at the belt to see if there's gravel on it. So the lights are going to start off. Once I start the machine, they'll all turn on. And when they turn off again, that should signify that we've finished the gravel. So let's start this test. On your marks, get set, go. Let's see which one washes 2 stacks of gravel first. And the 64 has done it. Well, the 16 and the 64 both went at pretty much the same time, but the 32's still going. That's a surprise. Did I make a mistake on the 32 one? No, the 32 one has finally gone. So what about the 8 and the 4? The 8 still got half a stack left in the barrel and the 4 still got loads left. So I want to run that test again, because that seems a bit bizarre that 16 and 64 went at the exact same time, but 32 was slower. And this time 64 was first, followed very closely by 32, followed very closely by 16, which is a different result. So I'm going to do it again. And there we go. Exactly the same result again. So I must have had an extra stack in the 32 on the first one, perhaps, or maybe there was already something on the belt from the previous testing I'd done. But yes, it does seem that washing a stack of gravel is faster than doing 16 at a time, but only just. But what about with multiple fans? So this new test, instead of doing different amounts at a time, are all going to do 64 at a time, but this one's got 1 fan, this one's got 1 either side, so that's 2. This one's got 3 fans with 1 on the top, and this one's got 4 fans, even with 1 at the bottom. I don't know if that's going to make any difference or not, but we'll find out. But because I can't fit smart observers onto the bit of the belt where the gravel's going to go, this time we're going to find out which one runs out of gravel in its initial barrel first by the means of these. So when these redstone lamps go on, that means it's got through all of its gravel, or at least all of its gravel's been sent onto the belt. So really we should be starting with 4 stacks of gravel in each one of these barrels, because 1 will sit there, 1 will sit there, and we'll know when 2 stacks has been done, because 1 will still be being washed and 1 will be on that part of the belt, meaning 2 stacks have already gone in there. So without further ado, let's get this thing going and find out which fan better. Well, we know the answer, but how much difference is it? What's the speed difference? That's what I want to know. Will 4 fans actually be quicker than 3 fans? Does having a fan on the bottom actually make any difference? No, it doesn't. They went loads faster than those. There we go. And the 1 fan taking a very long time. So yeah, 3 fans seems to be the sweet spot on that. Can we make it better? So according to popular belief, it is possible to not just have a fan facing at the belt where the item is, but also below the belt as well, blowing through the belt. So we're going to find out if that's true as well with these 2 mechanisms. So we've got our 1, 2, and 3 fans. This one has 4 washing both sides of the belt. However, I believe I'm going to need to waterlog the belt in order to do that at the bottom. And this one has the same thing again, but with 1 on the top, giving us 5. And that's just made me realize that our previous test with one under the bottom may have worked if I'd actually bothered to remember to waterlog the belt at the bottom. But anyway, we're going to run these and see what happens. They're all loaded and ready to go, so let's see which one can get through 5 stacks of gravel the fastest. Yep, that one's gone first. Oh, followed by that one, then that one, which was a bit weird. And then obviously those two are eventually going to get through theirs. But yeah, the 5er was much faster. But can we make it quicker with 6? If I put that fan back under the belt, like I did previously, now that the belt is waterlogged, will it work? It is time for the ultimate test. I now have many gravel machines, ranging from one with 1 fan to 2 fans to 3 fans to 4 fans, because we've got the one back on the bottom. This one's got 4 fans without one on the bottom, just 2 on the sides. This one's got 5 fans with the 2 on the side, and this one's got 6 fans with the 2 on the side and the 1 on the bottom as well. And the 6er has beat it, then the 5er, then both 4s together, and then obviously it's going to be the 3 and the 2 and the 1. So basically, we can set up a system with 6 fans on 1 piece of belt that washes gravel very quickly. But how fast does it wash that gravel? That's the last test I want to do. How quickly does this actually wash the stack of gravel, because that's going to be what determines the speed of our entire system. And my timer says 47 seconds. To wash 10 stacks of gravel, that's 4.7 seconds a stack. So what do all of these tests tell me? Well, they tell me that having 6 fans is way faster than having 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. Crushing wheels don't take 4.7 seconds to crush a stack, they actually take 3.5, which means if we had 1 set of crushing wheels, we'd need 2 of these to keep up with it, and that would be overkill. 12 fans altogether to keep up with that, and we'd be washing way faster than the crushing wheels could crush. Whereas if we skip the 5 and go past the 4 and end up at the 3 fan system, 3 lots of a 3 fan system will wash just slightly quicker than a single set of crushing wheels, meaning that we only actually need 9 fans in total to keep up with 1 set of crushing wheels. And that's a little bit more optimized and therefore, as you comments like to point out, more efficient. So I've been spending a little bit of time in this test world trying to come up with a design that takes 1 set of crushing wheels, splits it through our 3 lots of 3 fan things, and then turns it all into ingots inside of a single chunk. And I've achieved that with quite a bit of room to spare. It is quite a bit of a monster, but how fast is it? Just over 4.5 minutes for 1 stack of ingots. That's it's not ever so quick. But what if I could crush down 9 stacks of cobble in 1 chunk? What kind of monster would that be? Behold the new behemoth. This system will take 9 stacks of cobble at once, crush them down, and still send them through 3 lots of fans. We have fans blowing across all 9 belts, fans blowing down into all 9 belts, and fans blowing back across all 9 belts, which means each belt has got 3 fans on it, and it's got 3 rows of fans on it, meaning we've got our 3 fan system 3 times. All of the items will then come through these funnels into this vault. The flint will get spat out there, and the iron nuggets will come out 9 at a time into this little basin here. They'll get turned into ingots and go back into there. But the question is, how long will it take us to get 1 stack of iron ingots? With this setup, there's only one way to find out. 3, 2, 1, go. But here we go. We're already starting to go through. As you can see, we're not backing up on the belts because it can wash fast enough to keep up with the crushing wheels. I mean, that's really fast. In fact, I think we're actually almost getting a backup of iron nuggets on there. Yeah, we are. We're now backing up. There we go. It's already done. 47 seconds. That's a stack of iron ingots in less than a minute. That's around about 5,000 ingots an hour, or almost 3 barrels or shulker boxes per hour. Not bad. Well, that's the main part of the system in. We've got all of the fans, everything's blowing in the right direction, all of the filters, and even the lava to take out the flint. I haven't added in the press yet to actually turn the nuggets into ingots, and I haven't added a system to actually get the cobblestone out of the post box and into that vault. Nor have I added in a system to take the iron out of here and send it back into our storage system, because we don't actually have one yet. And this is where this video all gets a little bit strange, because as you can see behind me, I actually have a fully functional working iron farm that has already been producing quite a lot of iron for me. Quite a lot, in fact. But the journey to get here was a bit of a headache, and as a result, the clips that I recorded along the way really didn't make any sense, were all a little bit convoluted, and as a result, in order to give you a better video, I'm actually going to smash all of this bit to bits and completely redo it for you on camera, and that way you get to see the process that I went through without getting the same headache that I did. So yeah, I guess it's smash it all to bits time again. Now there are a couple of bits that I'm not going to smash to bits, and they are the chain conveyor system that I've put in our workshop area, basically coming from our cobblestone storage via that frog to chain drives all around the top of the room. The bit over here where they go through the floor is temporary. We need to do something about that, but I'm not going to worry about any of that until I've actually turned this level of our workshop into a huge storage system, and that's not happening today. But everything else I'm going to smash to bits. You're welcome. So now that we've got a clean slate, let's start at the beginning and organise getting our cobblestone over here, which means handing things over to our drivery dog in our minecart, who needs to be getting things from these post boxes and stations. Over here at the iron farm, we already set up a little station which has got a name, Iron Farm B, and we got a post box without a name, which we're going to call FNT Iron Farm, because that's what it is. Now we do have some chain drive coming all the way through from our storage area, which kind of avoids the whole point of having the minecart in the first place, but the minecart's fun and I like it, so that's what we're going to use. So now we just need a way to get the cobblestone to this post box, and in order to do that, we need to go through our tunnel and label some other things. Now again, from the last video, we already have a station in here and a post box, because this is going to be our storage layer. So we're going to be calling this FNT Store 1, because there's going to be multiple of them in here. And our station is FNT Iron Farm A, because it goes from A to B. And it's just simpler that way. So we've got this chain drive connected to our cobblestone storage, so we need to be able to request items from that. The frog then needs to put those packages on this line, and then they need to end up in this post box. And the easiest way to do that is to grab a frog, connect it to this line up here, not this one that's going through to our iron farm. That's just to transfer power. So let's get that connected up here, stick him all the way down on this post box down there, and now we've got that frog connected. This frog is going to be called FNT Iron Farm Store, and notice that I'm prefixing everything with FNT Iron Farm. That's going to be important for our addresses later on. So now, if we want cobblestone over at our new mailbox, we just need to request it through the storage system to FNT Iron Farm, which is the post box we've just labeled at the other end, and that should mean, if I've done everything correctly, that it will all get delivered properly. And in order to do that, we're going to be using this redstone requester, because that's what it's intended for. We could use stock links, but I don't think we need to use those right now. Instead, we're going to grab this thing, link it to our network, then click on this little fellow, and we're going to tell it we want 9 stacks of cobble at a time. And for the destination address, we're going to put FNT Iron Farm with a wild card, and that basically means the packages will start going through the system to any address that they can find that starts with FNT Iron Farm, and then when they get here, that's basically their final destination. So if I just plonk this down somewhere for now, let's just put it over here, it really doesn't matter where, and give this thing a redstone pulse, that's going to ask for cobblestone from our frog, which has then put it onto there. That's then going to come through our chain drive system to this one over here, at which point this frog gets it. It's in that post box. The redstone links we set up in the last episode have gone off, which means our train should come to collect it, which it is doing. It's gone onto the train. The train's then going to come back this way and then drop it off at this post box over here. Just like that. There we go. We've got a package containing 9 stacks of cobblestone. And why 9 stacks of cobblestone? Well, if you remember from our testing, we're going to be running through 9 sets of crushing wheels, and each set of crushing wheels can crush a stack of cobble in 3.5 seconds. So we want to be calling for cobblestone every 3.5 seconds, and in order to do that, we can use a pulse timer. Unfortunately, however, pulse timers don't actually have 0.5 of a second, so the closest we could get is 4 seconds, and we definitely want that time to be longer than our iron farm can produce at. Otherwise, we'll have a problem, which was one of the headaches I had when I built this previously, where the minecart can't pick it up quick enough, and therefore all of the packages end up just spinning around that thing, which isn't ideal. Now, at the moment, that timer, even though it's going off every 4 seconds, isn't actually requesting anything because I've locked this on with that lever, meaning we're not going to get any cobble coming through while we're working on things. And the next thing to work on is to get the cobblestone out of here and into our vault up there. And in order to do that, we've got this chain drive. So all we need to do is get a frog, attach it to there, plonk it on top of that. He's just going to sit there nameless and take things out of there and put them onto the line like he already has done. So now all we need to do is stick a frog up here. And this frog is going to be our final destination. And it's going to have exactly the same name as this post box, because that way it will actually get the items that are addressed for it. So if we click this onto the chain drive up there and stick him on there and give him a name, we could call it anything. We could call it Cobble or something like that, but it doesn't matter. FNT Iron Farm is absolutely fine. That package is then going to come up to it. The frog's going to get it, and it's going to go into our vault. So that's how we get the cobblestone in. That's nice and easy. And all we need to do now to get a steady stream of that is just turn that lever back off again. And this timer will request 9 stacks at a time every 4 seconds. Easy. Now this next part is not quite so easy, and that's because I want to produce 4 different items through this farm in the same quantities. But it's tricky because you get 9 nuggets for every ingot. The iron sheets are just 1 ingot, so that's not so much of a problem. But then you need 81 iron nuggets to make a block of iron. And getting all of that to produce at equal amounts requires a lot of maths and timings. And it's something I got almost right with the previous setup, but it wasn't perfect. So we're going to attempt to make things even better this time. So the iron farm setup we've got here is very similar to the one we had in the test world. Apart from it doesn't have the big old vault at the front, and instead of having funnels here, it has filtered brass tunnels. And that is basically to try and optimize the items coming out and saving us space, because I'm trying to build all of this inside of a single chunk, but there isn't enough room for that. So we do end up wandering into this chunk a bit. But the reason I want it all in one chunk is to make sure things don't break or get overloaded or clogged up when certain chunks are loaded and certain chunks aren't. So we're going to start with the output from these, and for that we need a vault. So I'm just going to pop one on that belt a second so that I can build these out here. And with the vault in place, we just need to get the iron into the vault with a funnel there, and that funnel's also going to be taking flint in from this thing, so we need a way to get rid of the flint, and the easiest way to do that is just to basically dig down here, stick a bunch of brass funnels on there, label them all for flint, and then we're just going to fill this hole with a little bit of lava so they all get deleted. Now here's the complicated part. Because we need 81 nuggets per iron block, plus 9 nuggets per iron sheet, plus 9 nuggets per iron ingot, plus 1 nugget to go into our storage system, so that we're getting 1 of each every time this system runs, we need exactly 100 nuggets coming out of that vault at a time. But unfortunately, due to science, the most you can have coming out of these at once is 64. And that just won't do. So instead of having just 1 of those, we're actually going to have 2. And we need these to come out in multiples of 9, so this one is going to bring out 45 at a time, and this one's going to bring out 54. But that's only 99, FoxyNoTail. You're missing one. We are missing one. We then need 1 nugget to come out to go straight into our main storage vault, which is going to be around this side. So we're going to have that one there set to 1. And just to make sure we don't get any flint coming through these things, we are going to filter all of these with the iron nuggets. And now we need to turn all of these ones into ingots, and then this one can just go straight into the vault. So let's sort the ingots out first. That means we need a couple of belts, which we'll bring down to around about here for now. And on top of these, we're going to add a couple of basins with a couple of presses on top. We're going to set those to both make iron ingots, have some andesite funnels going in, and then they're going to eject the ingots onto these belts, which can be picked up by another vault over here. But here's where things are going to differ slightly from what I had originally. You see, in order to make sure we get the right number of items out of there at once, we actually need to lock these funnels until there's enough iron nuggets inside of the vault to actually release the right quantities. Otherwise, we just get a steady stream of 1 nugget at a time coming out of here, and never enough nuggets actually in the system to come out of here. So what we do is we stick a threshold switch on there, we filter that for iron nuggets so it ignores the flint, and then because we want this to work with 100 items, we set that to 100 items, that one to 99, invert the signal so it's already emitting redstone, and then we need to put a block on top of that and a block on top of that, and then we can just run some redstone around here like this. And now when there are 100 items or more in this vault, it's going to allow the nuggets to escape out of both sides, and then it will immediately lock it again, stopping any more coming out until there's enough in there. And that worked in practice. However, because the belts are going to be running at full speed, the nuggets coming out of here often come out too fast, meaning we get way more nuggets than we do of anything else. Speaking of which, we should probably add a little belt on here so they've got somewhere to go. And in order to control that a bit better, this is where things are going to change, because I'm going to add in a speed controller to slow down these belts. Now, I don't want our presses slowed down because I still want everything producing as quick as possible, but I do want to slightly slow down the belts that are running all of this thing. The only problem is right now I don't really know where I'm going to be putting the speed controller in order to deal with that. So for now, I'm going to pop it there, stick a shaft in there, stick a little bit of chain drive on there and a bit on there, and now I can't access the speed controller to change it. Probably wasn't the best place for it. Maybe we should do that at the other end where there's a bit more room. But before we get to the other end, we need to put that vault in to give the item somewhere to go. And it doesn't need to be too far back. We might as well just put it at this point here. Put a couple of andesite funnels on there, and now all of the iron ingots are going to get stored in there. And just in case this thing ever runs in reverse, I'm going to put some of this andesite casing down there to stop any items flying off the belt and going into the lava. I'm also going to put some at this end to stop that coming through. And now we know where to put our speed controller. So we'll pop it on there, stick that on there, stick a shaft in there, put some encased train drive on there, and now this is speed controlled, meaning we've got full control over how fast those belts are going. Although I don't know how fast that needs to be yet, because I've done no testing for that at all. What I have tested, though, is the next section, which means we need to extend this vault and have 3 more brass funnels coming out of here. These are all going to be iron ingots, so we need 9 at a time coming out to get turned into iron blocks, and then 1 coming out to get turned into iron sheet, and 1 more coming out that's just going to go straight through as an iron ingot. But again, we need to make these locked until there are enough in there to actually spit them out, to make sure we've got those nice even quantities. So yet again, we'll stick a threshold switch on there. We're going to put some casing either side. We're going to run some redstone on the top of there. And before we put the redstone on there, we're going to filter that for ingots, set that to 11, and then invert that, and then stick some redstone on there. So now those funnels are going to be locked until there are 11 ingots through there, and once there are 11 ingots, we can make all the things we need to make. So now we need the belt to go back this way. And in order to optimize this space a little bit, what I might do is just shorten this vault a bit so that we can bring the belts back that way and keep that bit nice and short. So let's just get rid of that belt for a second, get rid of that funnel for a second, and that one, and that. We'll move our lava over by 1 block, get rid of those bits there, we don't need those. Then we can put our funnel back on there, set to 1, throw on the nugget, and go to bed before the creepers come and blow it all up again. Again? Yeah, again. Right, we'll just get that temporary belt back in place there for a second, and that's that sorted back out. Apart from, I haven't added on the redstone to lock it, so let's just bring that across there. Lovely. Right, so the belt's coming back this way then. We'll start that one there, and we need to bring this one in line with this. So let's put that there, and we need 3 of those, of course. So let's just run those up and down there like that. And we need these ones to spin to go that way. And obviously those ones are going to go that way. Throw another basin on there with another press on top of it. Set that to iron blocks. Put the andesite funnel on this side this time because it's going in the opposite direction. Spin that around so it spits out on the right side. And then we need 1 more press above that belt there, and that's going to make the iron sheet. All we need to do now is put the vault on at the end, and this is going to collect everything. So we just need some andesite funnels going in on all of those. And again, just a few of the blocks down here to stop anything flying through underneath it should this ever get full. Now, before I did have some shulker boxes sat underneath this to collect the items, and that was basically just to make sure I could see exactly what was going on in terms of quantities. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to put 4 smart chutes underneath, filter these for all of the different things that we're going to be getting, and then stick a shulker box under each one to go into. The only other thing we need to do with this vault, other than making it bigger so it can hold more things in it, is to put on a packager with a stock link on it, and then we're going to just put some factory gauges on there so we can basically just sort of see how many items we've got in here at a glance. The very last thing to do is, of course, connect these to power because they've got no power, and we want those running at full speed. So we're just going to stick a shaft in there, put some chain drive there, and bring that all the way up to those presses there. And in order to get this one going, we're going to stick a shaft there and a little bit of chain drive there. So they're all going to run at the same speed as that belt, which will be full speed, but this belt can still run slightly more slowly. But we don't know how fast that's going to be yet, so we need to do some testing. And that means we can turn it on. Now, there's already a bunch of cobblestone in here for us to test with. We're still not going to be calling any more just yet, but let's just turn on the actual farm and watch everything coming out of here. And then we need to adjust this so our belts are going to be going in the right direction. So let's just start on 32 for now, and you can see how this thing's supposed to work. As long as there's a gap between the items coming out of there and the ones coming in, then our speed is okay. And it looks like there is. They end up all being squished before the next lot come out, so that speed's absolutely fine. And that should hopefully mean if we come round here, we're getting the same quantities of each one actually coming into here. But we're not getting anything at the moment. Why are we not getting anything? Oh, I haven't set these belts going. Wait, stop. Everything's just in here. We need to get these belts going as well. Why are you how are you requesting stuff? Oh, I flicked the wrong lever. Oops. We're going to get a lot of cobble in here now. Oh, well. Okay, in order to connect these, we just bring this one out a block further. These two can come out a block further. And then if we put in a gearbox there, that's going to alternate those. And then as long as these three are connected at this end, which they are, that should all work. So let's just turn the power back on. And we should see that, yep, those three belts are going in the opposite direction. And what we want to make sure is that we're getting the same number of things coming through, so we're getting equal amounts of things going out of there. We might be. So let's check on our progress and see what we're getting through here. 26, 21, 27... and 12. Well, now that it's up and running, let's take those out of there and see if we actually get a steady amount of each one coming through. I think we might need to speed up these belts slightly because there are random amounts of things. So let's go to 64 on there. Yeah, that's better for that. Okay, good. 12, 12, 12, and 7, 13, 14, 14, and 8. Why are there less? How can there be less of those coming through? You should be making the same amount. Bring in the cobble. And cobble should be making its way now. That little train should disappear off and go and collect it for us any second. Here he goes. Let's try and figure out why we're getting less blocks than we are sheets and ingots. Because they should be the same. It should be the same coming out of each of these. So we got two. Why did we get two of each of those, but only one nugget? See, that doesn't make sense. That's set to one each, yet it let two through. Two again on this, but how did you let two through? Okay, so it seems to me if we're overproducing on iron, as in we're getting a good amount of iron back from the amount of cobble we're putting in, these have enough time to let two through, while that only has enough time to let one through. And that's not what we want. So I think I've got a way to fix my timing system. Instead of just using the threshold switch to control the funnels, because this leaves the redstone on a little bit too long, if we actually then come out into a pulse timer, that will just set a very, very quick blip to the funnel, allowing one item out at a time instead of multiple. And back on the world, that should be relatively easy to achieve, but let's turn it all off first before we make a big mess of everything. We'll stick our threshold switch over here, set that for ingots, give this exactly the same settings. Then we can put the pulse timer down. We need to invert that and set that to, I guess, probably 2 seconds or 40 ticks or something. I don't think it really matters as long as it's quick enough to keep up. That's going to then lock those and pulse whenever this gets going. And if this works on here, we'll do exactly the same thing over there as well. So let's find out. Is it going to just allow the right amount out at a time consistently? Oh, it seems to be. Oh, yes, very consistent. Oh, look at it going. It's consistency. It's the most consistent thing I've ever seen. Yep, that works. I'm going to do exactly the same thing on this one. There we go. I've now got that in place. So let's start the system again and see if it actually works this time. So far, we're looking good. 6, 6, 6, and 6. Oh, it's working. 7, 7, 7, and 7. 8, 8, 8, and 8. It's working. Just needed pulse timers. I can't believe it. I have a hyper-efficient, fully functional, 100% working iron farm. It just needs to look a bit nicer and probably have a building around it and a monorail and all that. Oh, jeez, there's so much to do. But before we do any of that, I have been AFK here for about half an hour or so while I've been editing those last few clips. So let's just see if the system is still doing as good a job as it was before I started going AFK. Nuggets, nearly 8.5 stacks. Ingots, oh, the same. Sheets, the same. blocks. Yeah, it's the same across the board. I did it. I have a system that it's so... I don't have words to describe it. It's time-lapse time, isn't it? It's time I built a building around this and made it look nice. Good morning. Well, I didn't expect this to be so big, which strangely enough is what she said. I also didn't expect it to take so long. And funnily enough, she didn't say that. But yeah, here we have an absolutely gargantuan building for a not very big farm with the usual colour scheme, like we've got for our power station and our boat, but with a little splash of limestone here at the front. I've gone for an iron roof because this is an iron farm with lots and lots of iron window glass and lots of girders and things, because I've got loads of iron now, so I can. I've added in a reasonable amount of detail down the sides, again mimicking what we had going on some of the other builds, and out the front here I've added in the monorail station with a little bit more of a dip in it and some iron waiting outside to be collected. I've also added a bunch of lanterns because of creepers, and as we walk inside you'll see we've got a big display board here telling us how much cobblestone is in the cobblestone bit over there, and more importantly how many nuggets, ingots, sheets and blocks we've got. And look at that, they are all keeping in line with each other. The nuggets will catch up in a second. Considering it's been running all this time, there we go, and they're all in line with each other. I'm very happy with that. In terms of decoration inside, all I've done is added this bit at the front here, added some railings down the side for safety barriers. I've added a few safety barriers around this. We've got a big empty space here because that's where all my sugar boxes were, and I'm not really sure what to do with that now. And I've added a couple of on-off switch for the main power to the farm and the cobblestone requester, which I kind of didn't need to do because they're just there and there, but it just felt important to put them on the wall. In terms of internally, we don't have any second or third floors, although there's definitely room for them if I need them. I've just added in a whole bunch of scaffolding to sort of hold everything together. I've added in another couple of chain drives heading in this direction and a frog on top of this vault, which we can call if we want to get iron out of here and over to this post box here, which is the one that the monorail will connect to. Ah! No, I put lights up! You little so-and-so! You thank my battleship, stupid creepers. And so aside from a little bit of exterior lighting, I think I'm overall happy with it, although there are a couple of issues. One is I'm regretting saying that I was going to build this into the mountain, because as it turns out, the mountain's not quite as big as I imagined it would be. This was supposed to be one of 3 layers of things going around this mountain, and realistically at this rate, if we're going to be going up in a steady incline, we're going to have 1 layer, and this is less of a mountain, and I guess more of just a small hill. But we're going to make the most of it and make some more impressive builds as time goes on, and now I've got plenty of iron, it's going to be very easy to do that.